Hello and welcome back to Bookish. After some deliberation, I decided to go ahead and do the BookTube Newbie Tag today. I think part of my hesitation was that I felt like my intro video kind of explained a lot of these things, and part of my hesitation probably had to do with the fact that as a 51-year-old man, it's kind of hard for me to think of myself as a newbie at anything, but the honest truth is that I am a newbie at BookTube, so I decided to get over myself and make the video. So here we go. There are 10 questions which are designed to introduce me and my channel and my idea for my channel to booktubers. So the first one is this: why did you start your channel? Well, I love books. I love talking about books. I love talking to people who love books about books. I love analyzing books, being introduced to new books, sharing books that I love. I think that's probably a pretty standard BookTube answer, and it certainly applies to me. Question number 2 was, what are some fun and unique things you think you can bring to YouTube? And to be honest with you, I don't really know. There are a lot of great BookTube channels out there, and I would hate to think that just because I don't know about all of them, I haven't seen all of them, that I would step on somebody's toes and talk about some new idea I had, only to find out that it's not new at all. So we're just going to have to wait and see. So question number 3 was, what are you most excited about in terms of having a BookTube channel? And again, I'm excited about talking about books and sharing my love of books with people and getting their reactions to what I say and the books I read, and seeing everybody else's BookTube channels and the books they read. I'm just really looking forward to hopefully being able to engage with other booktubers in a discussion about books. Question number 4 is, why do you love reading? And there are a lot of answers to that question, some which sound probably kind of, self-serving, and some which I hopefully are just kind of honest. Number 1, I love to learn. I'm an educator. I consider myself a lifelong learner, and reading is the primary way by which I learn. I learn best by reading and writing and studying, and so I love to read for that. Also, like most people, reading is a form of escapism for me. I get to inhabit other worlds. I get to inhabit other people. I get to know people who I'd never get to know, in places I'll never get to go. It's really a way of transporting myself and kind of gaining a deeper understanding, hopefully for other people different from me in different places in the world. I love that aspect of it. But in addition to that, I like evaluating things, and I like to think that I'm pretty good at evaluator of books. And so from a completely egotistical point of view, I just like to evaluate things and share my opinions, and I love to share my opinions about things I care about, and books are one of those things I really care about. Question number 5 was, what book or series really got you into reading? I think the first book I truly loved was Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing by Judy Blume. Really liked that book a lot. But I also did a lot of reading at my grandmother's house. And she had a lot of books left over from my uncles. There were all these kind of history books about the Pony Express or about Paul Revere's ride. And she had I think they had almost a complete set of Hardy Boy novels in hardbacks. And I really got into those Hardy Boy stories, even though they were set in the 50s. And I grew up in the 70s, so a lot of the slang and the cars and things like that were kind of alien to me. I really liked those books, and I think I read pretty much every one I could get my hands on, and that's probably where I got my love of detective fiction to a certain extent. Also, I read the Chronicles of Narnia books. I think that's pretty common for a lot of booktubers. And then from the Chronicles of Narnia, I moved to The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. For Christmas one year, I think I was probably about in the 4th or 5th grade, my mom bought me a really cool box set of The Hobbit and the 3 Lord of the Rings books, and I read those books obsessively. I frequently just would finish with The Return of the King and immediately start reading The Fellowship of the Ring again, and just read through the series over and over again. And that probably is the book series which where I realized I was kind of a book nerd, book geek who really loved to read and really got deeply into the books that I read. Question number 6 is, what questions do you have for your favorite booktubers? I have a lot of favorite booktubers, and so I'm going to leave some out. For Steve Donahue, what I want to know is how fast does he actually read? You know, how many pages an hour? Is he capable of reading it? It must be immense. And as a slow reader, I'm kind of just fascinated by how fast he must be able to read. From Adam at Momentum Mori, I just want to know how he gets his ideas, how long it takes him to put together his awesome videos. And from Dane Reads, I'd want to know what he thinks about the old BBC Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy TV series. And I don't know if he has a video about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I think his take on that old TV series would be really interesting to see. And then Katie from Books and Things, I just want to know if she has favorite places to read outside in London. I'm not exactly sure she's located in London, but I've been to London a couple of times, and it just looks like, to me it seemed like there might be all these kind of nice places just to sit and read a book. Those are the questions I'd want to ask some of my favorite booktubers, and you know, that's not all my favorite booktubers, but those are just some questions that came to mind. Question number 7 is, what challenges do you think will be involved in having a BookTube channel? And I have a one-word answer for that, and that's time. Question number 8 is, when did you start reading? Probably somewhere around the 1st grade, if not before. My mother was an educator, and books have always been my house. The first book I can remember reading over and over again, and I must have been pretty small, was Dr. Seuss's One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish. So, you know, somewhere probably around the age of 5 or 6. Question number 9 is, where do you read? And I pretty much read anywhere in my house. I don't do a lot of reading outside the house. I live in Texas, and it's really hot here a lot of the times, and so reading outside is uncomfortable. I don't like sweating on the pages of my books, but in the house I read in bed. I have a recliner that I read in. I have a couch. You may have seen the background of some of my videos. I have a couch here in my study where I read sometime, but it really doesn't matter. I don't have a designated reading place. Then question number 10 was, what kind of books do you read? I read a lot of literary fiction. I would say that's my primary area of reading. I also read a lot of history and nonfiction. I like detective stories. I like the occasional sci-fi, fantasy type story or book. But those are probably my favorites, with heavily on literary fiction and history nonfiction. Anyway, there are my answers to the BookTube Newbie Tag. Thank you for watching, and please let me know what you think in the comments.